I am also very grateful to be here in the Congress to share what was my experience in working as a doctor, no? Because I am internal medicine doctor, but also now working as a psychiatry, no, for migrants. Well, this is my experience of uh, vaccination for migrants here in the pandemic in Japan, no? Specifically in Tokyo and the surroundings areas. Then next slide. Yes, okay. Yes, in Japan, just for uh, trying to set how was the course of the vaccination in Japan. No? In February of this year, we just started with the health worker, not all, just a group, selected group, and then after all the health workers, this vaccination finished around April. In May, the vaccination for the general population uh, started with high-risk people and elderly people. And from August, yet in Japan, illegal migrants, they don't have health insurance. No, by law, they can access to health services. But they were granted vaccination without cost. No? Unfortunately, there were not enough media coverage of this issue. And I think very few migrants were knowing that they had that right, or even in municipalities, they couldn't access to the vaccination because they didn't know about they had the right. The vaccination coverage in Japan, we have only two types, the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine. And in October, we reached 65% of the Japan total population with 2 doses, no? And 74% with 1 dose. No? If we just count with the people over 65 years of age, the coverage is over 90%. And talking about the Great Tokyo, because it's different in the whole Japan, it's different in every prefecture. In Tokyo, with around 18 million inhabitants, the coverage reaches 50%. What are and were the barriers for vaccination here? During the year, during several times or sometimes like months or 5 weeks, there was a lack of vaccine availability, and also working conditions were a restraint because people who is depending on working conditions, that they depend on their salary, they were scared about the secondary effects and losing those days of work. So many wait until other workers were vaccinated and they were completely ready to, in case they had secondary effects, they could rest as well. There were also, even in Japan, we have a lot of IT technology. You know? There are many people who had difficulties using websites and the internet for getting the access to the vaccination. And indeed, language barriers for the registration form itself for a long time were only in Japanese. And people were also, especially at the beginning in May, they were scared about well-founded and also irrational fears about short and long term of side effects. Now the situation is quite changing. In Japan, for abroad students, they are also arranging for they having vaccination at the time they arrive in Japan if they didn't get complete vaccination in their countries. Also in Japan, we had two big centers for all the general population and anyone who has the voucher for the vaccination working in Tokyo and Osaka. And since August, companies in the center of Tokyo and the surrounding prefectures of Saitama, Shizuoka, and Kanagawa, they started also to have vaccines for their workers, mostly in the field of supermarkets or big business in Japan. No? And they have foreign workers of several nationalities, and they themselves and also their families, they were able to get the vaccination there. And in October, the Ministry of Health already set a very well translated in several languages website for improving the access to vaccination for migrants. And additionally, they also consider those people who enter Japan with a short stay visa, for example, a tourist or family visit, and they had to extend the visa, or people who are in the process of extradition, they were at home or probably in detention, they all got the access for vaccination, and there will be exclusive vaccination centers for them in 3 sites in Japan, in Tokyo, in Nagoya, and in Osaka. I think also it's important to say that the vaccination voucher itself can be processed in any municipality of Japan. Just they have to go to the municipality if they want to get the vaccination. Well, I think this is the information I wanted to share with you. Thank you for your attention.